Welcome to the third Utd Arena Podcast, everyone. So it's been a while since we did the last one, but we are back. Uh, if a lot of you don't already know, then our main Instagram page recently got disabled by Instagram due to some issues, and we haven't been able to get it back. So that's been a huge blow, and that's the reason why this, podcast have been delayed a bit from the actual planned weekly podcast that we had announced earlier. But we are back in the game. As far as Instagram is concerned, we are launching a new account by a completely different day. So the details of it will be mentioned down below. Do go ahead and follow the. Give us a follow. We are already at 92 followers right now. Let's get it back to 100. And I mean, 100 is such a minute number compared to 56K followers that we had earlier. But let's get it back up again. All right. So, in this podcast, we'll be basically discussing the biggest news coming out for Manchester United this week, and that is the appointment of the godfather of gegenpressing, Ralf Ragnick, as an interim manager for Manchester United. Right. So he has a vast career, vast footballing managerial career. Started off his managerial career at just the age of 25. Uh, Thomas Tuchel, if a lot of you don't already know, is kind of his understudy, and Ragnick was the man who kind of gave him the push to go ahead and pursue a managerial career. And we already know what he has done in the footballing world right now, right? So without further ado, let's just dive right into it, like who Ralf Ragnick is, what his style has been, everything about Ralf Ragnick that you need to know. Devang, can you just give us a brief introduction about the man himself?
For Ralf is a huge upgrade to what we had or what we have had since Sir Alex left. He basically believes in three philosophies. Three C's, the fundamental pillar of his philosophy. One is concept. So he believes that every team should have a single concept. So whether they play against a lower blocking team or against a good high pressing team like Liverpool, they should stick to their philosophy. They should stick to their concept of playing. The fans shouldn't be bored with the kind of sideways play that we saw under Ole. That is something that Ralph believes in. The concept should be clear to the top tier of the club and even to the fans along with the players. So fans should know that this is our style of play. This is how we play. That is something Ralph believes in. Next, see in his fundamental pillar is competence. So after having the concept of the style of play or the playing style that he wants to play at the club, he always ensures that he has those people who are competent enough to actually play or manage those style. Be it be players, be it be managers, be it be under 18, under 19 managers, be it be under 18, under 19 players, be it be any staff. He always ensures that he has the best staff in that particular role. So, for example, if it is data analytics or if it is scouting, you look at his scouting network. He has a best scouting network that amongst the football world. And the final one which United has in plenty of supply is cash. But if you look at how United have spent the cash in the recent years, we have spent it very harshly, and we didn't know what we are spending it upon. We have spent cash, but we have not spent on right people. So that is something. Spending cash on right people is something Ralph wants. Vidit, would you like to take over here, sir?
Yeah, so as we've already been over the point that Ralph is coming in, and he is coming in first of all for the first 6 months, all right. Now, Romano mentioned that he might be interested in a full-time role later, but that's a whole different topic. Right now, what Ralph needs is to drill these players with the tactics that he needs, the high pressing tactics. And I believe that this squad is quality. As I've already mentioned, this squad has the quality to compete. This squad already has reached a European Cup final last year. We've seen that they've gone toe to toe with the best teams of Manchester City, with Chelsea and other teams, and they've come out on top as well. And that has been under Ole. All right. It's just that how can we actually turn this team with a one, as you said, concept? We need a concept of how we need to play. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, we had that concept. We used to attack. We used to ensure that we had that winning mentality with us. And that is how we played. All right. Ralf Ragnick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are two different worlds. I was reading this article where they said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactic board in his office didn't have a lot of tactics. They said it said stuff like believe or like get it to this person, or like it was actually like just Bruno Cristiano and Inshallah FC. All right, we don't need that anymore. We need actually, because we have Alex Telles, we have Luke Shaw. If Luke Shaw can play as an inwards left back or an inverted left back, Alex Telles is a very good wing back. All right. If we have somebody as good as defensively as Aaron Wan-Bissaka, in the same role, we have Diego Dalot, who is very good. He had one of the highest crossing percentages in his debut season for Manchester United. And that was across the league as well as Europe. We have very good players, but they have been lacking in confidence due to the lack of rotation that I've seen. However, I believe under Ragnick, a lot of this is going to change. We're going to have an identity. We're going to have a proper scouting network. We're going to see youngsters stepping into the squads, youngsters with good footballing IQ, such as Garner, such as Levitt, such as Mejbri. And, Hoffenheim, his tenure in Hoffenheim, if you look at that, he got to the 2011 semi-finals of the UCL. That's a big ask. All right. He got Hoffenheim, he got Stuttgart competing, he got Schalke competing, right?
He joined Hoffenheim at 2006-7 season. At that time, they were in Bundesliga. They were in Tier 3. He brought them in Tier 2 within the next season, 7-8 season. They finished second in that season. And the very next season, they were promoted to Bundesliga. So within 3 to 4 seasons, he brought them from Tier 3 to Tier 1. That is a huge achievement as a manager who didn't have much kind of experience, or with a team that was in Tier 3, bringing them to Tier 1 to Bundesliga within 3 years is a huge achievement by Ralf.
It's a trend that you'll see across all the clubs that Ralf Rangnick has managed, right? So he has started his managerial career with the 6th division league in Germany, if you don't know. When he was just 25 years. Yeah. So he was kind of able to give them promotions back to back. I don't recall another team, but there was another team which he kind of joined again, who were in the Bundesliga 3, promoted them to Bundesliga 2 and to the Stuttgart, yes. So Stuttgart was another one, and Hoffenheim, as you already pointed out, they were actually, if you recall correctly, in the very first season of Hoffenheim, they gained 35 points out of 51 possible in the first half of the Bundesliga, and they were directly going and competing for the league title at that point of time. Although the things went downhill from that point on, they still finished 7th in the very first debut season under him. And they just directly had come from Bundesliga 3 to 2 years later, directly competing, kind of what we have seen with Leipzig over the last few years, right? They also came in back to back. And I believe Ralf Ragnick also had a role to play over there. But forgive me if I'm mistaken, you guys can take over on that front later.
Yes, but revolutionized the entire Red Bull football community. So he left Schalke at 2011 due to as a manager due to health issues, and he joined Leipzig and Salzburg as a DOF in 2012. So at that point of time, Leipzig was at League 3, if I'm not wrong, Tier 3. Leipzig came in, that was 2012, right? Leipzig came second in Bundesliga for their 16-17 season. That is in next 4 years. So they went from Tier 3 to Tier 2 to Tier 1. And even came second in the Tier 1 within 4 years. His performance as a consultant, as a director of football is extraordinary. That is something I'm way more excited than the interim management role.
He's a guy who actually kind of demands control across all the things that he is there, right? So one of the very first conditions that he put forward to the United board was as well that I need control. He wanted to be more managerial rule and probably control the entire footballing side of things, because he knows what kind of potential he has, and he has already proven results. But there's one
we can see that his scouting network is one of the best across Europe. If you look at the kind of deals he's done, if you look at the kind of youngsters he's discovered. Joshua Kimmich, Serge Gnabry. You look at Timo Werner. As well at Stuttgart, as well as at if you look at him in Leipzig. When he was, if you look at him under Ralf, he was amazing. He was brilliant. All right, he was scoring goals. He was confident. He was scoring. So he's created these youngsters, and he got Konate on a free.
Sadio Mane.
He signed. Yeah, Sadio Mane. He signed. All right, he's discovered gems of players. Dayo Upamecano right now, or in Leipzig, and right now playing for home. Additionally, he even has an eye for good managers. Julian Nagelsmann, Thomas Tuchel. These are the managers that he's given a chance, right? For Leipzig's setup, Julian Nagelsmann was handpicked by Ralf Rangnick. If you look at that,
and he was very young to coach a team like Leipzig, but
exactly, he's still in his 30s.
There's just one concern, right? Nagelsmann already had proved his worth at Hoffenheim earlier. He had been managing them quite really well. Kind of like how Eddie Howe had performed for Bournemouth over a period of 4 to 5 years when they were in Premier League. Julian Nagelsmann is kind of the same figure in the German football, right? So I'm not really sure on that front. Like, he has a good eye for the managers, but definitely for the players, I can definitely vouch for. Timo Werner, I believe I was researching for this video. He was one of his fans, and probably the entire Leipzig team who came in second were handpicked by him only, right? So he was the guy
he got Christopher Nkunku, who's right now killing it in the Bundesliga. He got him on a free from the PSG academy. PSG's academy right now. He has an eye for. Yeah.
So I have this one concern, which I believe a lot of Manchester United fans and a lot of critics of his have also pointed out, right? So all the teams that he has managed so far have been, either underperformers or who are in the leagues below, right? He has given them that kind of reach, but he has never managed a big team. That is one of the biggest criticisms of his career till now. He has never managed big name players, although his understudy Thomas Tuchel, we already know he has been managing. He managed at PSG, he managed Dortmund, quite a big name players. Obviously, if his understudy can perform, you would expect him to perform as well. But there's still this kind of a dilemma in a lot of Manchester United fans, right? That how good will he be managing big name players like Ronaldo, like Pogba, like Bruno Fernandes? Like,
if I may address this, Ragnick. I believe that Ragnick's philosophy clearly tells us one thing, that the club comes before anything else, right? So I believe that irrespective of the players that we have, or irrespective of anything that goes behind the scenes, Ragnick will be successful at creating a very good structure. Because if you look at Sir Alex Ferguson, he sold David Beckham, he sold Cristiano Ronaldo, and he still competed with the best of the best, and he came out on top. Why is that? Because Sir Alex Ferguson put the club at first, right? So for the time being, what we need to know is that we may have the best squad in the entire league, yet if we do not have the mentality to put the club first or to go out and win, and yes, exactly, the concept, first seed. You cannot expect us to be winning even with Cristiano Ronaldo, all right? And if you had Dan James giving all he had in his locker for us, but if he's filling his role, we might be winning the league with him. So that all it depends on the players giving it all. And Ragnick, as a man, as you already know, the Manchester United board is one of the worst ones I've seen, and we all can agree on that. And you know that if he can get his demands fulfilled by Manchester United's board, the players will give their all. Especially seeing that he is able to take out the best of the players he has on his disposal, right? You can look at Marcel Sabitzer, you can look at Timo Werner, pressing forwards. Timo Werner, very good place, used him as a pressing forward, and he came out on top, all right? Players that have a good physical attribute. He's not played just one system or a robust system. He's always looked for different systems to fit the players.
Since we are talking about his managerial point of view, Ralf is a kind of manager who always adapts his formation according to his players. If you look at his Hoffenheim session, he used to play 4-3-3. He played 4-2-2 at Leipzig with two attacking midfielders. So he always adapts with the kind of player he has. And I believe that he can do a similar thing at United. we have good quality players, and Ralf can surely adapt a formation around those players. So if you look at, since he mentioned about Timo Werner, I believe that Rashford or Greenwood can have a similar kind of role that Timo Werner did. Probably Rashford even more suited than Greenwood, but yeah, those two can have a similar kind of role that Timo Werner did at Leipzig. We can have Bruno and Sancho as the two attacking midfielders. So that is something that I don't really. It does come as a thought that he has not managed big teams and big players. But then, if you look at his managerial career, he has adapted from team by team. So I don't think he'll exactly suffer in that way.
So speaking on that front, then let's speak a bit about how Ralf may go ahead and structure the United's team's playing 11, especially. So as you guys already mentioned, they keep on. He actually adapts to the kind of players that he has inside his team and goes ahead and makes a plan accordingly. Right? We already have quite a decent pool of players, especially that can be really useful with the gegenpressing style of play that he's kind of made his own, and he was the kind of the inventor of us. At top of my mind, what comes in is like we have been criticizing Fred a lot under Ole, right? The entire McFred combination. But if you just kind of imagine the McFred pivot playing under Ralf Ragnick, especially in the gegenpressing role, I feel Fred especially would come out to be a really, really great player. Kind of really useful because he has that kind of ability to go ahead and press. He already does that. He has the ability to pass the ball quickly around. Compared to McTominay, he can do a really good job. So I feel going down the line, we might see Fred being featured a lot, especially. Not really sure about McTominay. I definitely feel like, as Vidit pointed out earlier, there'll be a lot of rotations coming in around, right? So a lot of opportunities coming in for Van de Beek. A lot of opportunities, I believe, coming in for both Telles and Shaw to come into the picture. We still haven't seen a lot coming from both of their end, especially from what we had imagined earlier. Going down the line, especially in the attacking front, we've only kind of seen a glimpse of what Telles is capable of this season in terms of his crossing, in terms of the left foot. He has a sweet left foot coming down the line, right? But we still haven't been able to see that kind of a thing coming in. Diogo Dalot probably gets his opportunities going down the line. He was really, really, efficient at AC Milan last season. He was kind of getting in crosses to Ibrahimovic, and we saw a lot of him going down the line. I still haven't been able to see that kind of a role over here. I still do have a question in mind, like how do we go ahead and how will Ralf go ahead and manage the front three, or probably the attacking front? We still have quite a huge pool of players over there. There's Lingard, there's Rashford, there's Sancho, there's Bruno, there's Pogba also who can go and play over there. There's Ronaldo, obviously. There are a lot of players, and that's the only kind of a question mark in my mind. Like, how will he go ahead and manage these kind of players? In what positions will they play in the gegenpressing role, especially?
Personally, I believe that the main concerns that I have is how does he make the best of Cristiano or from Martial, because they have been criticized a lot for their lack of off-the-ball movement. Personally, I believe that these two will be some players I'd love. I'm very, very intrigued as to how he coaches these players and what their roles will be. I believe that Cavani is somebody who topped our forward line for pressures. Rashford very good at pressing. He has a good disciplinary attitude when it comes to pressing. Again, Greenwood, same with Sancho. I believe Sancho would be somebody who would be coming into similar to Marcel Sabitzer, coming into the winger attacking roles. Yeah, maybe a attacking midfielder, but on the wings, not exactly a winger per se. And I believe that we might see a variety of forwards being dispatched. Even with like the kind of midfield we have right now, maybe the best thing would be to pack the midfield with players such as Bruno, Van de Beek, Fred, and like these kind of players that could probably have a disciplined role, and even Pogba with his long range passing. It could be anything, The thing is that with as many good players as we have, we've already seen this with Manchester City. The Pep roulette, all right. He can field the starting 11 full of any players. Already, he could play Bernardo Silva on the right wing or in the center midfield, and he'll perform. Right? We need that at United as well. We don't need to know. See, the thing with Ole was before every team sheet was announced, I knew Maguire, Bruno, as well as Ronaldo.
We knew the starting 11. We knew the starting 11.
We knew the starting 11, right? We knew if Rashford was fit, he'll be on the left wing. All right. We knew that even though we signed Sancho and Rashford is out, Sancho will never play on the right. Sancho was playing on the left of the left, right? Anthony Elanga, such a good player in preseason, scored goals, took his chances, did everything well. All right. Should have been introduced. Elanga on the left, Sancho on the right. Would have done good for Elanga. Elanga couldn't go out on loan. Now he's not in the first team right now. He's not getting as many opportunities. And you can see how the entire opportunities and the entire morale of the squad has gone down. Because false promises is something that a manager should not be making, right? Diego Dalot, Jesse Lingard, amazing players who could like have a future. Diego Dalot and Aaron Wan-Bissaka could provide two different dynamics. Dalot with amazing crossing, right? Wan-Bissaka with great defensive skills, right? Good at dribbling, nice at getting out of situations, and fairly decent, right? Overall, Diego Dalot might benefit the most out of Ralf Ragnick coming in because with his high pressing system, he might not have to induce in as many one-on-ones as he initially had to. Because against Villarreal, whenever he had to get into one-on-ones, he was torn apart by that.
He was
exposed, right? Alex Telles and Diego Dalot might not be the best defenders out there, but yes, we have to remember they are defenders and they have a potential to like perform their role, right? They could be two amazing wing backs who could be playing for us. Additionally, players such as Pogba, who's been deployed into the pivot, who's been deployed further upfield, who's playing off the left, off the right. The thing to know is that Pogba has always performed best when he has a defensive structure around it. Ragnick, as the coach and the master and visionary he is, right? I believe that he can recognize that and might give Pogba the room to, go further with the defensive structure around. But it's all
Pogba probably can play this habitual role, playing as a cam and dropping in deep whenever we play against lower block team in order to carry the ball forward. So I believe that there are various players that can benefit from Ragnick's involvement. Something that I would like to mention is VDB. Van de Beek is kind of player who can carry the ball from that pivot. So if you place Van de Beek with Fred, both have a higher pressing stature as compared to McTominay. When compare the stats with McTominay, Van de Beek has a better stats in terms of pressing. So Van de Beek and Fred can be a good combination in that pivot with that high pressing attitude that they have, and Van de Beek's ability to carry the ball forward and his vision to pass the ball forward. Something that I would like to mention is Greenwood. So as you know that Ralf would keep on rotating players. The kind of philosophy or the method that Ralf plays under, the gegenpressing method. The thing is that players will be exhausted, and we will see a lot of rotation in general. We will see players like Sancho, Van de Beek, Telles, Dalot playing in that we didn't see under Ole. Ole kept a single team sheet, whether there's a 2-game week or a 3-game week. We usually saw a similar starting 11, but that is not sustainable under Ralf because of the high pressing attitude that we have. Greenwood
I think Ole deployed control C plus control V, and I think he took that too seriously.
Since we are talking about Ole, there's something that I wanted to mention. You can't discard the fact that the work that Ole has done. He was not that good, or he was not good at tactically, but he brought in good players. He brought in smart players. For the first time since Sir Alex left, we have players who can play under various managers. The kind of players that Mourinho and Louis van Gaal brought, they weren't that good of players. You look at Damian, he was like discarded by Mourinho at the first season itself. You look at other players that Louis van Gaal signed. You look at the players that Ole signed. Now, I'm not even talking about the players. You look at the structure that Ole brought in. You look at the kind of academy players that Ole brought in under his tenure.
Hannibal.
Exactly. Hannibal, and other players that Ole brought in under his tenure. Then the structural change that happened under Ole's tenure is something that Ole deserves the credit for. Probably we wouldn't be signing Ralf if it was not Ole, is what I believe. But then, it was time to move on, and probably we did the right thing. Things didn't go well with Ole, but yeah, he deserves
We
the
should
credit.
be addressing one question since we are on this topic itself. I totally agree with whatever Devang has said. The only thing which I think might be, kind of a result in terms of the downfall that we've seen in terms of United's performance this season, which I think a lot of Manchester United fans kind of agree on. It's kind of skeptical. I am not. I still am not either on the positive end or on the negative end of it. Let me come to the question. Was Ronaldo signing the reason why the whole, kind of the season, how it threaded out the way it has? Is
Can I be
Ronaldo
honest?
signing the biggest reason for the same?
Can I be honest on this? So if I am to be honest, I'm probably one of the biggest Cristiano fanboys I have personally met. All right, and I believe that Cristiano Ronaldo sometimes can be a passenger. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't have the tactical plan for that to come into the place. All right. Cristiano Ronaldo, the thing when he was under Zidane also mentioned that I didn't play him on away days or something like that. And I preserved him. All right. He used to rotate him out a lot. All right. He used to do very well under Zidane because the midfield took care of the business of the dirty work and they provided him with chances as well. And he had a partner, Benzema, Karim Benzema, who sacrificed himself in order for Ronaldo to have the credits. All right.
Massively underrated.
Over here, what we all were thinking was before even Cristiano was on the market, all that we were thinking was Greenwood, Cavani, 2 rotators, Martial, Rashford, 2 rotators, and then Greenwood can also play on the right, and maybe Elanga will be introduced into the war, and maybe Dan James, right? Dan James still wasn't necessary before that, right? And Sancho is there, right? We had a whole view, all right? We had everything planned. Cristiano's signing did destabilize those plans. I believe personally they did destabilize those plans. However, having one of the best players in the history of the game, you cannot not play him, right?
My view on Ronaldo's situation is that the signing of Ronaldo was probably unnecessary. We had a good front line.
But we didn't know. You cannot let him go to City. That's the only reason that I believe we had gone ahead and signed him.
Yeah, exactly. That is the only reason I believe, or probably everyone believes that we signed him. We didn't need a striker. We needed a right back or probably and a center defensive midfielder. Yeah, exactly. But blaming him for the current form is something that I don't believe.
It's not blaming Ronaldo. It's not blaming Ronaldo. It's the fact that he came in very late into the picture that did completely disturb the plans, as Vidit pointed out.
Yeah. See, Ole as a manager should have been capable of adapting his pre-season plans along with Ronaldo. Agreed. I believe Ole had a good pre-season plan. He had a good pre-season. We usually played 4-3-3 with and that Matic VDB combination. I'm a huge fan of that. But Ole as a manager should have adapted his team to fit in Ronaldo because Ronaldo brings in goals. You look at our Champions League, we are at the top of the Champions League because of him.
It's because of him.
We can't take away the credit from Ronaldo. We can't take away the credit from Ronaldo. The merit for Ronaldo, merit for Ole lies there. The only thing is that Ronaldo destabilized Ole's plan. And it was not, Ronaldo signing wasn't bad. I'm not saying that the Ronaldo signing was bad. I'm just saying that a consequence of signing Ronaldo was that Ole lost sight of what he was trying to do, right? That as a result has gotten him sacked because he couldn't think fast enough or he couldn't just integrate Ronaldo.
Ronaldo has been signed since 3-4 months. He had enough of time. He couldn't adapt Ronaldo as a player because if you look at the kind of play Ole did, he also asked his player to press in. He also played a counter-attacking style, right? So
just to clarify, so this point that I want to put out, Ronaldo signing has been a really good one for United in terms of,
but an
if we
unnecessary
look at
one.
the matches,
But an
that
unnecessary
he won, yes, an unnecessary one. But if we look at the matches that he has won for us, if he wasn't there in the team, we wouldn't have won. That's as simple as
You
that.
can't blame Ronaldo.
So in terms, it's not the blame for Ronaldo, but the situation that came along with signing of Ronaldo that needs to
Agreed.
be.
Yeah, I agree.
And that is something that we really needed to discuss at this point, I believe.
We did that with Sanchez.
Exactly. So this segment to the viewers, this was actually planned as a separate podcast altogether. But the whole Instagram banning thing came into the picture. So I quickly wanted to weed that into this one. We'll get back to the topic again. Ralf Ragnick, gegenpressing, how he'll set up United. A lot of good points put forward by Devang and Vidit regarding the players who will get an opportunity, the rotations part, the kind of play that we can expect under him. I do have a certain, kind of a question. Like, there are certain players in our team which we know for sure will never press. There's Martial, Matic due to his age. Probably Mata as well. I don't think he will feature anymore under Ralf Ragnick, especially.
Yeah, true.
Players like that. Just Maguire also, I kind of think he cannot press really well. He's
No.
quite.
So the thing is, I'll stop you there. Maguire is a very good stopper. Maguire always steps forward and wins the ball. If you look at the Wolves patch in his first season over here, Adama Traore was neutralized by Harry Maguire. And that was all because he stepped forth and he took charge and he's a very good stopper, good in the air, good at winning, ground duels. The thing that went.
But if that happens and if he misses, which we have seen quite a lot during this season, our back four cannot really go ahead and defend.
With the tactical acumen that Ragnick brings to the table, I believe he has a good and a bad side with every player. It's obviously a coin has two sides. It's not that a coin is one-sided, right? So we have to keep in mind that if Maguire misses, we'll probably have Rafa Varane or somebody covering from him. I do believe that Maguire is a good stopper, right? A good stopper cover relationship is something that Ralf Varane has flourished at. Even with Real Madrid, Sergio Ramos was a very good stopper. Ralf Varane did the dirty work as the cover defender, right? With Marcelo bombing forward, Carvajal bombing forward, if you look at all of them. Personally, for me, I believe that this team could be successful, and especially with the presence of Fred around here. Matic, I agree that he won't press due to his age, but Matic is a very
smart player. Exactly. He won't press much, but he'll be at the right place at the right time.
He can cut the ball off really well.
Yeah, he can cut the ball off. 2017-18 when he signed him, we didn't really with Matic and Phil Jones and Chris Smalling at defense, De Gea won the Golden Glove, right? Yeah,
Smalling had a very good season at that point.
Exactly. So the thing is, we need to know that we have certain strengths associated to everybody, and if we play to the strengths, I believe we can make up for the weakness.
Okay, since we are talking about centre back, I just wanted to put forward one question. Who do you think will be the first two choice of Ralf Ragnick? Should it be Varane and Maguire? Should it be Lindelof and Varane? Or should it be Maguire and Lindelof?
I think we haven't seen pairing of Varane and Lindelof as often. I do think that they can be a really good stop. But again, as Vidit pointed out, that stopper and cover positions in the CD centre-back position is really vital, especially in the gegenpressing goals. So I feel that it will still be Maguire and Varane. I am really excited to see both Varane and Lindelof playing along with each other.
I have a very controversial opinion. I personally believe that Eric Bailly and Ralf Varane could be something of a very good centre back.
In the stopper, dirty work kind of concept. Eric Bailly can go in and Because but the thing is that Eric Bailly can't stay fit.
Yes, I agree that I'm not disregarding those facts, right? But I believe if we had the option at disposal, right, I would put Eric Bailly and Rafael Varane in the centre back positions. Personally, I believe Bailly is fast. Alright, Bailly made Varane look good. Varane is very good. Bailly made Maguire look good last season. When we were on that winning run, and when we were winning at Aston Villa and everywhere and every difficult
Yeah,
ground, it was due to Bailly and Maguire playing. All right. He also made Lindelof good when I think Maguire missed a match or two. It's just that Bailly is a very good defender. He's just not been afforded that chance. In the 2017 season, when he was fit and playing for majority, we really like won a lot of matches that we apparently could not.
There are only two
without
problems
him.
with Bale. Bale is a very good. Eric Bale is a very good player. I personally, I'm a huge fan of him. One thing is that he can't stay fit, similar to Phil Jones. If you look at
He's
the
made out of glass.
initial tenure of Phil Jones, he did play very good under Sir Alex Ferguson, but then due to his injuries, he just went out. That is something probably believe while Eric has already been out for a while. Second thing is he lacks confidence as a player. You might see him playing very good in one game. He would come in with very good tackles. He would step in with good tackles, but then in his very next game, he would just
I think it's
City game.
inconsistency more than lack of
City
confidence over there, because
I
and
believe-
that's
I believe-
there's one underlying reason for that he hasn't played match game in game week in week out for a long period of time.
If you look at the last time he played two consistent games, it was the first game. The second game was against Manchester City, right? The
Yeah,
second, when he
it's been a
scored
while.
the own goal.
It's been a while.
Another thing is that if you look at the two games that he played, once he played in a different position in the back three. And then again, when he was playing with Maguire and Lindelof and everybody, he was playing at the right side of centre back. I believe that the inconsistency of his positioning also is something that we need to keep in
obviously
mind.
his game time is a huge reason
time
for
is
that
also
for his form. But then his game time is due to his injuries, right? He hasn't been fit, and then we have good
He's been
defenders who are
very-
playing week in week out. Who are playing good week in week out. We have Maguire, we have Varane, we have Lindelof. They haven't been not talking about this season, but last season or the previous season. Maguire was fantastic. He was the reason we had those defensive records. So you can't take Maguire or Lindelof or Varane out.
I think Maguire needs a timeout. See, he
Right
has served
now,
his
yeah,
red card,
he needs a
but
time.
he right now
He needs a time.
exactly. A lot of pundits have said the term burnout. That is something that Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire have suffered from. Rashford suffered from an injury burnout. These guys are suffering from a game time burnout, right? Now, this is something that Ragnick addresses, right?
Yeah.
The manager
Rotation.
addresses. Rotation. You have good
It's
players in
not
the
just
squad. You
rotation
can
as
keep
well, right?
everybody- Yeah,
It's
you can
not
give
just
everybody
rotation.
chances and keep the squad fairly happy. Jesse Lingard came off the bench at West Ham, won us the game, didn't he? Jesse Lingard played whenever he played, whenever he got the chance, he scored, he assisted, right? Right back positions have not been changed at all. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been playing week in, week out, week in, week out. The only two times he was giving was when Diego Dallo was actually played in the team was because Aaron Wan-Bissaka was suspended. And that's not something that should be happening. Or just Carabao Cup games. Diego Dallo is somebody who went to AC Milan and made a mark, right? He had the chance to play consistently, right? Ragnick addresses the rotation dilemma that we had, right? When I was personally writing these articles for the website, I saw that the game time that has been afforded to Van de Beek, he's been limited to single digit start. He had been limited to single digit start since the last season, right? He had been playing 15, 20 minutes. He played less minutes than, I don't know, so many things. There's a lot of stuff that had gone wrong under Ole. A majority of it has been attributed to coaches such as Kieran McKenna and Michael Carrick. We don't know what's true right now.
He will
Because
know
they
it
say
because of what we have read. Ragnick is not will probably not bring his entire team, and he will bring only a couple of people along with him. So Carrick and other people are
coming
gonna
to the
stay
Carrick-
at United.
From what situation we know right now, the back end stuff is not going to change. It might feel in Darren Fraser, Kieran McKenna are all going to be there. Probably, as Devang pointed out, one or two members from his choice might come into the picture. We have already seen, Michael Carrick manage one game and another game going, probably in an hour. So we are recording this just before Chelsea match goes
The lineup
live
should be out in 10 minutes.
in 10 minutes, right? So What do you think of play under Michael Carrick? I personally kind of feel that we just let Villarreal come to us, and in the last 20 minutes we just not even last 20 minutes, it was just like last 10 minutes when Rashford and Bruno came in, is when the things came alive. Is it similar to what we saw under Ole? Like there was no flair among the players coming in. What do you think of their styles?
I saw a better defensive structure.
Yeah, that is what I mean. Carrick,
I saw a better defensive structure.
Carrick focused on the structure of the team when he came in. Like if you look at the defensive structure and the overall structure of the team under his one game that he has played and the game that he will play today, he is focusing on the defensive structure as of now. He believes that we have good, confident players to score in goals if we could defend. Because if you look at our defensive record in the recent matches under Ole, it was very bad. That is what Carrick is probably focusing on.
I believe that we don't need to judge Carrick right now. I believe that the thing is, Carrick is only there for 2 games. Ragnick's probably gonna sign his contract within a day or two, and then we're gonna be in.
He'll be probably from Arsenal.
What I wanted to point out was the kind of players that United have are actually capable of giving in good defensive performance. Like Villarreal were coming in probably in waves, right? They were coming in wave out of wave, but we were still kind of able to manage it. They were not letting them go past to De Gea. Obviously, David De Gea has been insane this season. But so the reason why I wanted to kind of point this out was in the one match that we have seen, Carrick take control of. He kind of played the similar team, just a few changes over there in the playing 11, and we were still kind of able to give a better defensive performance, right? It was kind of a similar team that played against Liverpool, and 5-0. It was absolutely, disgraceful match. I really want to forget it, but it's kind of just into my nightmares right now, right? So we are capable as a team of giving in good defensive performances, and it's something which I personally am looking forward to how Ralf Ragnick positions us as defensively. We already know how his playing style is, but really looking forward to it. But there's another thing that needs to be discussed over here, apart from the rotations and the kind of play. That's the kind of young players that he has, been able to bring into the picture, and not just bring into the picture, but make them world-class players as well. So kind of, if you look at RB Leipzig's team 3 years ago, which came in second, is probably in their first ever season or the second season in the Bundesliga. It was all kind of Ralf Ragnick's thing, right? He was the director of football at that point of time, and pretty much handpicked all of the players who were starting for them. At United, we have a pretty good pool of young players who are playing in our under-23s right now. There's Hannibal Mejbri, there's Elanga. There are a lot of players, to be honest. There's Alvaro
Fernandez, there's Garner, there's Ahmed, you are forgetting Ahmed. You're forgetting Shola.
Yes,
Shola,
exactly.
you're forgetting
There are
Shola.
so many players.
There's so many good players. There's so many good. And the thing is that the beauty is that we don't have good players at the attacking point of view. We have good players at every
across the
board. We have Mendy, we have Garner.
Yeah, we even saw Will Fish make an appearance in
Fish, Mengi, Alvaro Fernandez in the defense. We have for CDM, we have Levitt, we have Garner, we have Galbraith. We also have McKinnell and other strikers. The youth is very good.
Ethan Laird at right back.
Ethan Laird at right back. I believe he can step in probably next season itself. That is something I believe. Probably is a huge expectation from him, but he has been playing 2 seasons at loan and he has been doing very good. He is the kind of right wing back that Ragnick would need. Yeah, I believe Laird can.
There are players out at loan as well. There's Axel Tuanzebe. There's Brandon Williams. There are a lot of players out on loan as well, which can come into the picture.
The thing that confounded me regarding the players that we had last year was Axel Tuanzebe shut out Neymar and Mbappe.
But now
first game after 10 months.
Now if you look at Tuanzebe is a huge talent, but he's not getting the minutes that he requires. He is not even getting into the Aston Villa centre-back, Aston Villa playing 11. That is something very concerning.
In the last season that he was not there, they actually brought in good replacements for him, and that's the reason why he's probably not getting
Ezri Konsa has been playing very well. I do believe that
he's probably injured as of now. as we talk.
I believe that Tuan Zebi could actually step in for Mings. Mings doesn't have Mings is not as good of a centre back as I would say. No offense to Tyron Mings if you're watching this, but
he actually was featured in England's team recently, right? If I'm not wrong.
I mean, then again, favorism. I mean, then again, Scott McTominay and Fred were playing day in day out for United's team for like such long time. So I don't believe that that favorism doesn't exist. However, coming back to the youth setup, if we look at the fact that James Garner, Dalian Levitt are two brilliant players that we might have for the pivot. If Ragnick sees the potential in them, integrate them, shows them how to play the role, we could have a PDM for the future, right? We might not even have to splash out the cash outside. And even like players like Boubacar Samare that we missed out in the summer, or Ruben Neves, or even probably a young unknown academy player that we have never heard of, and Ragnick brings him into the team and integrates him. Could be that. So the thing is that right now, I believe the integration of Elanga, Shorita area, and everybody else to like take off the load off of the two senior passengers, that is Cristiano Ronaldo and Edison Cavani. Ronaldo might have the physique of a 22, 25-year-old. However, he's still 36. If he gets an injury, he probably will out for a longer period of time. Edison Cavani is struggling to.
Do you seriously believe that if he's injured, he'll be out for a longer period of time?
I do not wish to believe that, but my logical mind says this thing. Like seriously, if my belief says one thing,
in the entire career of Ronaldo, I believe he hasn't missed quite a lot of game time because
except
of
that one knee injury that he had, which probably changed his entire playing
probably. His life completely revolves around keeping himself to the fit to the ability, and even if we compare him to all the athletes out there across all the sports, I believe he's at the top notch. So even if he gets
I'm not taking anything away from him.
Him and Messi both, actually. I mean, kudos to them. Like their physics are insane, and probably even Haaland also. He just came out of an injury within 6 weeks.
And within 7 minutes. Oh. Okay, talking about Haaland, since Ralf is going to take as a consulting role, he can lure him to United. That is something very possible. Obviously, Ole was with him at Molde, and we couldn't really give him the kind of playing style that. So the thing is, I believe that Haaland rejected Manchester United because of the playing time that we were giving him. He was starting for Dortmund, and we were keeping him as an option to maybe Cavani or Martial. So that is something that is the reason what Haaland rejected United for. But if you look at current scenario, he knows that he's gonna start in any team that he joins, right? Any team would start him as a number 9.
I think
so. The playing time.
I think that the fact that we have Sancho, we have Ragnick right now, and we have a very good set of creators around him. Haaland could definitely be tempted to come here. There were rumors of Thomas Tuchel getting him for Chelsea, and with Chelsea's firepower, those rumors might as well come true.
See, the thing is that every big team are looking for a striker. So if you look at Liverpool, probably might look for a striker. They are not. Firmino is not really in a good form, but Jota has stepped in a good. With Aguero out, City is looking for a striker. United might look in for a striker, as I believe Cavani may or may not be with us. Madrid might not look for striker as of now because they are completely behind Mbappe, and Benzema is still fit enough to play good. Then Barca probably does not have the money, but if Mbappe goes out, PSG can step in, and they have the cash to buy Haaland. So bringing in Haaland will be a huge task, but I believe Ragnick can play a very important role. If we can lure him to United, he's the person who can lure him to United.
I believe that the other people that will be, I think Amad Diallo for one is one player that we've seen very less of. If he is integrated into the first team with the kind of players that we have right now, Amad Diallo would shine because the one time that he
could be a good backup to Sancho.
Exactly. If you look at the match where he played against AC Milan, he came in at halftime, he scored a goal, right? Next time that he played was, I think, against
Leicester.
He started a game against Wolves and Leicester. Leicester, he provided an assist. Wolves, he was creating definitely
He has
very
the dribbling
good.
ability and the ability to create chances. That is something. He's a Sancho kind of player. He's a very good player.
Yeah, dude, that's it. And then again, if you the one thing that concerns me a lot is the goalkeeping position, right? Okay, if we look at it, then David De Gea
He's
and Dean
probably
Henderson.
back to his best.
Yeah, see, David De Gea is back to his best. But the thing is, again, he's 30-ish and he's on 500 or something. He is almost on 500,000 pounds.
Yeah.
By the
Right.
performances that he has given this season, he totally
He deserves.
See, the thing is that
I am not saying
the the formation that Ragnick used, the pressing style that Ragnick used, he needs a sweeper keeper, which is probably we
Exactly.
don't see from much from Daya, and that is something Dean Henderson can do in his passing range and the ability to come out of the box and get the ball out of the player. That is something Dean Henderson does much.
Dean Henderson is a better commander of the box because we saw more clean sheets under him when David went back to Spain.
But then do you take out David at this current form?
I don't. Honestly, what I do at this point of time is if I sell him with a buyback clause. That's what I do.
If I think that Dean Henderson won't. Who are you talking about? Who are you selling?
Yeah, exactly. Sell him.
See, I would honestly sell him to a foreign club.
Who are you selling? Are you selling David Daya or are you selling Dean Henderson?
Dean Henderson with a buyback clause. It's a no-brainer. You sell him to a club such as Dortmund, or you sell him to a club such as, I don't know, Inter Milan or something like that. That actually deserves it.
Does Dortmund need a keeper? Does Inter Milan need a keeper at this point?
Dortmund probably needs a keeper.
Dortmund probably does need a keeper, or maybe Inter Milan has.
Inter Milan is clearly linked with the Ajax keeper, and he has a verbal agreement with Inter Milan. So that is something.
For example, if Onana leaves,
no big team is around asking around for a goalkeeper at this point of time.
See, the thing is that Dean Henderson needs game time, and he has agents who probably arrange that.
He will leave if he
Even
does
if he
not
leaves
get.
for me, I don't know. Even if he leaves for
Now, even if he leaves, even with the buyback clause, and let's say United, De Gea can keep up his performance for let's say another 2-3 years because keepers have a long
the thing is that keepers have a long life. They can play till 40. If you look at it from that point of view, De Gea probably have. You can't compare everyone with Buffon, but if you look at Daya's age, he probably might have good 4 to 5 years of game time under his belt. Yeah, but then is Daya the kind of player Ragnick or other managers that come in with the similar philosophy?
The thing is that De Gea's
question should be different.
De Gea's reluctance to come out of the box makes him a liability sometimes to the defense because with a high
Which is why he does not come out. He knows that he can save in one-on-ones with his leg and by spreading it out. But coming out of the box is what makes him liable. And
the thing is that even with very good CDMs such as Manchester City, if you look at, they had Rodri and Fernandinho, yet they need a sweeper keeper in Ederson to save a few goals that might go in otherwise if not for a sweeper keeper. Even if Ederson's a brilliant shot stopper, right? Now, similar with Alisson, with Van Dijk and Fabinho, he still needs to come out and do his sweeper keeping duties. That's the only way you play a gegenpressing style. So until and unless if you remember last season, the match that at Old Trafford, when Bruno was put right. So if you look at the big teams such as Manchester City or Liverpool, even with great defenders such as Ruben Diaz and Aymeric Laporte and good CDMs with Fernandinho, Rodri doing their jobs, and if you look at Liverpool, Van Dijk, Matip, Konate, and even Fabinho, you still need 2 sweeper keepers to play the high pressing intensity that Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp employ.
So if you have a high line, you need a sweeper keeper to
exactly. Last season, the only reason we won the match at PSG when we went to Parc des Princes was because Axel Tuanzebe made all the recovery runs against Mbappe. It was his pace. Now, if you take out that pace and you put somebody who's reluctant to come out of the box, such as David De Gea, we are a liability. And as good as David De Gea, maybe he cannot save 10 one-on-ones in a row. I mean, except if it's Arsenal. All right. So, yeah, Otherwise, you cannot expect him to like keep saving you one after the other. But yeah, please in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I believe that if David De Gea has a reluctance to come out, sacrificing him, saving £500,000 week, but having a good sweeper keeper and a fairly decent shortstop might not be a bad idea. And somebody who will be there for the next 10 years.
I think this question will be really.
Let's keep it open for the chat.
Not just chat. I feel it will be really well answered over the next 2-3 months itself. We'll get a better idea of what the performances will be, and we'll know, we'll get a better idea of how things turn out in the goalkeeper position. Probably we can do a separate podcast on this single topic altogether coming down the line. But getting back to the conversation at hand, right? So if we talk about Ralf Ragnick, he is only going to be manager for 6 months as of now, and he'll be in the director of football position, not probably director of football position, but coming in at consulting role at the top on the football side of things rather than the financial side of things is what we understand right now. How do you guys see that panning out?
See, for me personally, Richard Arnold taking care of financial side of things, I don't care. Right? Ed Woodward was brilliant at doing his job, but the fact that he decided to indulge into the football side of things is what made the fans turn on him. Right? If Woodward was doing his job as a CEO and getting in the good deals, the Lego deals, the Hindware deals, or whatever he was doing, right? The Kohler deals. At the end of the day, if we had a competent director of football and we had the money to splash us on the targets that the managers needed, we might have ended up paying 30 million less for Maguire. We might have getting players such as Cruz instead of Bastian Schweinsteiger at the twilight of his career. You understand that how important that could have been over that changes the entire course of football history.
Real Madrid 17-18 team gets disrupted if it was that.
Exactly.
See, the thing is that is what Arnold is aiming to focus at. Like, he knows that Woodward, he was very close to Woodward while dealing with the commercial side. He knows that Woodward did this mistake and he tried to step into the footballing world, even though he was not very good with it. So Arnold is going to stick with the commercial side. He knows that he can do that. We all know that he can do that. Okay. How much you hate Woodward, you can't deny the fact that he brought in very good deals. He brought in very good deals at very, very crucial moments of Manchester United, right?
Could you ever imagine a tractor company sponsoring a football club? I could never imagine that.
Look at Team Viewer deal. It was a very unexpected and very good deal. So the thing is that Woodward brought in very good deals, but he legit. It was very bad at the footballing side. That is the mistake that Arnold is not looking forward to make. He knows that he can't learn things that quickly to manage a big club like Manchester United. That is where.
However, we have to thank Woodward. We have to thank Woodward because if not for the broken fax machine, we would have lost David De Gea.
That's the highlight of that entire.
Yeah, I think that's Woodward's highlight.
That's his best footballing decision that he has ever made.
Yeah, that's probably one of the better.
Was it a footballing decision? Was it a commercial decision, like saving some money by not replacing the fax machine? I don't know, but whatever it was the best decision for the footballing.
I think it was a decision by someone inside the team who did not really want De Gea to go and going in at night and smashing the machine altogether.
But De Gea with that Real Madrid team, I know Navas is a good player, but De Gea with that,
they were next.
Oh man, they would have won even more chance.
At the level he was playing in 2014-15.
Exactly. He was legit saving our act. He was legit saving.
He was the
only one we survived. If he would have been probably in the what Arsenal was last season, what Arsenal is.
Yeah, exactly. He would be.
Look at the difference that the keeper, the Arsenal keeper, has made to Arsenal side.
Ramsdale.
Yes, exactly. That's my point. So I believe that sweeper keeper, but additionally, Ragnick as a director of football or in a consultancy role sees the requirements of the managers and takes those decisions, right? If we can leverage a good deal out of David De Gea and ensure that the team style is not being compromised, Why do we need to like keep 500,000
And we
pound
can get
player
good
on
sum
our
of money
books?
for
Even if
David
he's
De Gea. David
amazing.
De Gea can go for easily above 40 million, is what I believe.
Exactly. See, I am not saying that I want to sell him, but personally, if an offer came in and we have a adept replacement for the incoming manager as well as for the future, why
See, the
should we why should we not take that?
Personally,
the
I'm a
thing
huge
for
David
me
De Gea
is
fan.
no. So that's
I'm
one thing.
a David De Gea fan. Like before anybody in the comments accuses me of being a David De Gea, I am Dave says.
All of us are David De Gea fans
He
over
has
here,
been a
right? The
loyal
only
servant to
concern,
Manchester United for ages. He has saved Manchester United at various occasions. Look at that Arsenal match. We won it 3-1, but he made 14 to 15 saves.
15 saves.
That is a huge
It's the
thing,
best.
man.
I remember having a conversation with one of
He
my
had a
Arsenal
rough
fans. And he
season
was
last
like,
time.
"Who is this guy? Why is he saving so much? How can he save so much goals?"
I think like David De Gea actually that should not have been allowed. It should have been illegal the way what he did that day should have been illegal. But again, we
The
all say
thing
our
is,
thanks to David De Gea. And coming back to the Ragnick point, I believe that the scouting network that United could set up, the point of integration and the new, especially the selection of the new manager, it's always every comment section of a
Probably
Manchester United
Pochettino
fan.
might not be his first choice. We could
Exactly.
probably
If he
see Eric
sees
Ten Hag. We could see
Exactly.
someone
If he
else.
sees Eric Ten Hag as the potential successor,
Exactly.
or probably somebody else that we might not have, like the sporting manager right now is 36, but he's been linked to move to Manchester United. Very good manager. Additionally, if he's Portugal and he's from Sporting, I think he's already ahead. But again, we need to keep in mind that Ragnick sees things as a visionary that we as fans or we as people who are not into the footballing world do not. Even people in the footballing world do not see things that he does. Jurgen Klopp is Jurgen Klopp because of Ralf Ragnick's influence. So
That 4-1
that's
defeat at Hoffenheim by Hoffenheim.
Thomas Tuchel.
He entirely changed. Klopp entirely changed his playing style after that 4-1 defeat by Hoffenheim. He built him on that principle.
4-1 match. That 4-1 match was the reason why he went on and kind of revamped his entire strategy.
And he has a similar structure at Liverpool too. We all agree. We would all agree to that.
And a very great.
I have an interesting question. Yeah, please go ahead. I'll just go ahead and put in my question.
The very greatest thing about Ralf Ragnick's influences, he's produced 2 UCL winners.
Within Klopp. In the managerial world, not on in terms of this, not in terms of this.
Right, and additionally, we have a Bayern Munich manager coming out of Ralf Ragnick's influence. We have Bayern Munich starting defender who's actually got loads of assists, Dio Upamecano, coming out of Ragnick's influence. You see the influence he has. We could have a very great bunch of players just due to his influence. Just due to the fact that he might be there. So I think it's a very exciting era that might be coming up in the coming few years. I hope he stays beyond his contract, but even if he doesn't, I hope he stabilizes and he does what he's been doing. Because I can't wait to see United lift trophies.
So this is the question now, based on exactly the conversation that you two put forward. We have 2 UCL winners who have come from under his wings. Now he has the opportunity to go heads up with them, having a similar firepower like them, in being at the helm of one of the world's biggest club, right? Thomas Tuchel versus Klopp versus Ralf Ragnick. Can he do it at the big stage? He hasn't managed a big club, but can he do it at the big stage?
I think that I don't really know as of now whether he can.
I think,
but the thing is, one thing that I'm really sure of.
This question is actually open to all the viewers as well. We want your answers down over here as well, because this is something which personally I find quite exciting. If Thomas Tuchel can come in and revamp the entire Chelsea squad who are not doing at all well and win the Champions League within the first season, it's quite exciting to see what Ralf Ragnick, the teacher himself, can do.
The thing is that I don't know what will be the result of the Tuchel versus Klopp versus Ralf thing. But one thing I'm very sure about is that Manchester United versus Liverpool game is going to be one heck of a game with the kind of playing style that Ralf and Klopp put in. That game is something bunch. No one would think of missing at all. That is a game I'm very, very much looking forward to under the Ralf's era. The 6 months that is.
Agreed.
What the result will be, I don't know what the result will be. But one thing that I know is that he'll stick to his first pillar. He'll stick to the concept that he is trying to bring in.
See, one thing I know is football is poetic in its all of its aspects. Last goal of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's era was scored by Donny van de Beek. The first game before Ralf Ragnick's era begins is against his own apprentice, that is Thomas Tuchel. So you see how football is poetic, and I believe that when we see Ralf Ragnick in action,
just to correct you on that, Manchester United have not officially announced yet about Ralph's signing. It has been confirmed by Fabrizio and other top class journalists, but it is not officially announced due to some paperwork issues and passport issues. So he is surely not gonna be with us during the Chelsea game.
Exactly. I'm saying that the one game before Ralf Ragnick's era begins is against his.
Okay.
Right. Is against Thomas Tuchel, that is his apprentice. So you see how football plays out. And I believe that we can see poetry in motion when probably we go to Liverpool and when Chelsea comes to us. So I hope that first of all, I want to see exciting football.
Okay.
Right, the kind of football that United deserves to.
So there's one thing that I think we'll go in UCL. How far do you think we'll go in UCL then?
We have a squad to probably win it.
Just a prediction.
How good will this squad adapt with the Ralph's philosophy is something. How much time will it take is something no one can say probably. But yeah, we have a good squad to probably win the UCL. If Ralf can do a Tuchel thing, we do have a chance. But I am not keeping any kind of expectation. I am not keeping any kind of expectation.
I'll give you two answers. Idealistic, it would be the semi-finals. If I were to be realistic, it would probably be the quarterfinals, and that too depending on the draw. Because if we get Bayern, or if we get something,
what if we get Barcelona if they qualify? What if we get Barcelona if they qualify?
That would be an interesting match.
It would be interesting.
We could take on Barcelona and win. We could take on Barcelona.
They have good squad, and with Xavi coming in, they can change their playing. So the thing is that how quickly do the two managers
can the team adopt?
Yeah, exactly.
I still believe that it's gonna be heavy metal football coming out on top. But let's see. Let's see what the future holds.
Okay, one final thing that I really want to ask is that suppose that Ralf ends with his interim manager role and goes ahead with the consulting role. How do you think will he contend with Glazers and the United board? We all know United board is stubborn. We all know that they are very stubborn to their views. And how do you think will he get the work done by the United board?
I think Glazers have learned their lessons. I think Glazers have already learned their lessons.
That's a huge statement. No,
so
I say this.
There's one thing.
I say this that after the Super League scandal that happened, I personally believe the Glazers will do anything to keep the fans on their side. All right. And the thing is now the fans will have some power with, I think, the Glazers releasing some B-class shares to the
fans. Yeah.
To the fans. So I believe that with that happening, as much as I hate these owners and as much as I want them out of my club as soon as possible, I still believe there is that slight chance that just that that one tiny bit of silver lining that I see is that Ragnick might be able to command the footballing side of things with Richard Arnold taking care of the financial side.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I don't think that the debt will be taken care of, but I do believe that we can have some good footballing decisions taken care of and maybe some very hidden gems coming into this.
I do agree with the point that probably Glazers are trying to improve in your words, but I believe that they are trying to clear off their image after the Super League thing. They are trying to make their image better in terms of in front of fans, because if fans revolted very harshly after that incident. There were banners, there were planes going on, and Glazers surely are looking forward to improve their image in general. But will they give Ralf the power? Yeah,
I kind of have a contradictory view on this thing. So they are not just the owners of Manchester United. You need to, consider the fact that they are owners of some of the biggest sporting teams across the world, and at the same time, they have been managing them really well. And it's not just a concern. So, the Super League point that with it kind of pointed out is quite decent. The kind of response that the fans put forward, that's not what the club's followers want. That is something that they understood quite well. But the kind of change that we have seen over the last, probably 6 or 7 months, I think the kind of way that they used to look at managing Manchester United club earlier has kind of changed a bit. I
I think
personally see
I
that.
think
The
we'll
reason
see.
being,
So you
the
mean to say
reason
that
being,
this is not a PR stunt and they are not trying to clear their images, but instead they are actually trying to change. That is what you mean to say there.
I think they understand. I think now they understand that the way they are managing other teams is not probably the way that they can be managing
After
Manchester United.
a decade.
After
After a decade.
yeah, after a but the point is, if they have realized that, it's a good point for us, right? At the end of the day, people can make mistakes. The 10 years that we see, it's definitely going downhill for them. If we look at for Glazers, it's probably a business, and if a business is going downhill, you need to kind of revamp the strategy that you've been using for so long, has resulted in the downfall of that
See,
particular
the
thing.
thing is that these guys are ignorant,
Exactly.
and that we can't change. All right.
Exactly.
But the thing
I
is,
think so.
results
That's
on
the
the
reason
pitch.
why we are
Results on
seeing the changes on the footballing front as well, right? We have been demanding DOF for a longer period of time, and as soon as the DOF came in, we saw the kind of signings that we need to be making come into the picture, right? That
Dude, they
is,
were
although
much
they have been
faster
in
than I
work,
expected.
they have been in work for a longer period of time. That shouldn't have been in the picture.
Everything.
It should have happened immediately, but
If you notice, everything happened after the Super League thing, and which I believe is just trying to
exactly
keep
my point. So if that has been a kind of a resultant in the change in the way that they are managing, we if we see kind of a person that Ralf Ragnick coming in, who demands the kind of power that comes along with that position. He knows that he wants things to be done his way, or else he's not going to come in.
I
And
think
the
I'll
fact
say
that they are
one
open to
thing.
come, let
I'll say
someone
one
guy
thing.
see.
I
Uh,
think
just one point that I want to point out, right? We know Pochettino used to work under Daniel Levy, who is as good as a kind of a owner like Glazers, who is quite cheap in terms of spending money after the team, in terms of the player that he wants, that the manager wants, right? They could have easily gone ahead and got Pochettino compared to going in for a person like Ralf Ragnick. I know that Pochettino was right up the alley at this point of time, but they do still kind of have the money that they can go ahead and pay PSG, right? And if the matter of fact is, the other options that were available in the market, there's Valverde, there are other managers as well who could have come in. If we are still going after Ralf Rangnick and bringing him in, they do have a vision in mind. At the end of the day, it's
Do you
business
think
for them.
Glazers
okay, I'll tell you
involved in
one
this
last thing.
particular decision?
I think there's one last thing that will tell you that why the Glazers might be doing. Pitch, the results on the pitch will give good results on the stock market.
Exactly.
That's what the
Exactly.
I
So
believe
that's my
that
point.
will
At the end
conclude.
of the day, it's results, right? It's business for them.
Yeah, dude. I think at the end of the day, whatever's happening is for the good of Manchester United.
The only thing I would want to say is that I hope whatever Dhairya said about Glazers is right. And the only thing we could do is hope.
Right,
We
keep your
can't
fingers crossed,
really
please.
we can't really say much about that.
Keep your fingers crossed, and let's just hope for the best. Let's go. It's probably gonna be the Chelsea match within half an hour from now, and yeah.
So I think
Hopefully,
it's a good point to end this podcast on. We have pretty much covered the whole aspect of Ralf Rangnick signing in for Manchester United, be it his interim manager role, be it his uh, you know coming in as a consulting role, be his youth development role that he can come up with in Manchester United, and the fact that he'll be going up against his apprentices kind of over the next few months. Quite interesting time definitely lie ahead. It would be, just the fact that we still don't know how United will play under him is a huge plus in my opinion. Like, we know for a fact that there are a lot of players that United can bring in, have in Ralf Ragnick has at his disposal to play a lot of different playing styles, to play a lot of different structures at United. It will be definitely interesting to see how we play against big
for
teams.
me, I one thing I'd like to know through the followers and our family on all the platforms that are watching this is which youth player do you think needs integrating to the squad, and Ralf Ragnick is the man to do that? I'd love to know this because we have an immense pool of youngsters with us, very good potential. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and hopefully we can hit 100 before the next video. 100 subscribers on YouTube before the next video.
Exactly, and I don't think that's just the one question that we've put forward to viewers over the period of this entire podcast. There'll be a lot of kind of small clips coming just after this podcast goes live, wherein we address a lot of these questions coming down to you guys, right? So we are definitely looking forward to interact with you guys on that front. What do you think of our opinions? What are your opinions?
So as Vidit mentioned that we are close to 100 subscribers on YouTube. So we just a small request from you guys that hit the like button, add a comment, add anything, add a suggestion, add a feedback, add what you believe. We will discuss various things throughout the podcast. We have raised various questions throughout the podcast. Answer any one of them. And please hit the subscribe button. We are close to 100. We would like to hit 100 before the next podcast comes in. And one more thing, talking about fan interaction, our main source of fan interaction was probably Insta. We used to go live very frequently on Insta, but recently we got banned on Instagram, and the issue is still on discussion. There's one request that we would like to make. Please follow our new account. The link is in the description. Please follow other accounts of ours, because the thing is that getting disabled at 57K is a huge thing for us. Starting it right from zero will be a huge thing from us, and all we need is your support to start it from zero again and reach where we were, and probably even beyond where we deserve to be, that we believe deserve to be. Okay, guys, with that we end our podcast. Thank you so much for joining with us. Once again, hit the like button, send in a comment, and please hit that subscribe button. It would be somewhere over right here. Bye, guys.